All right, so welcome everyone, and Kyle and I would first like to apologize. Our tailor worked long and hard, but they weren't quite ready today, so we'll be donning our red suits later. But proud and happy to announce Richard Sherman as a 49er. We're thrilled to do this, and we all know what he brings. He brings a championship pedigree, as I said, and an absolutely wonderful competitor that we wanted to surround his presence around our guys with. And so we're thrilled to have you here, buddy, and take it over.
Very excited to be here. You know, it was a tough decision. You know, it's obviously tough to leave what you know and what we had. But things happen, and you got to move on. You know, I'm thankful for everything that I had in Seattle, and you know what those fans brought and what my teammates brought. But I'm looking forward to moving on to a new chapter and helping this team win ball games. Obviously, the things they did at the end of the season, the last 5 games, were unbelievable, and we hope to repeat that success in the upcoming year. Jimmy is a tremendous asset for this team, and he played outstanding football. But there are a lot of young guys who I expect to have a leap from last year to this year, and you know, I'm looking forward to the challenge of growing with another group of men and bringing them back to the top.
Richard, did the 49ers, did John and Kyle have to convince you that this was the right place for you?
No, they didn't. I wouldn't have taken the visit first if I didn't feel comfortable with what they offered as a team, their chances at competing and winning in this football league. You know, obviously I've been part of a lot of winning teams, and I know what it takes, and I know the formula, and I think they have it here.
From afar, you've seen, I'm sure, the kind of dysfunction that's been in this organization for several years. So what about this current incarnation of the 49ers makes you believe that this is a place that's ready to win?
Well, it's John and it's Kyle. They brought stability to this organization. They brought fun. They brought belief. They brought faith. The players believe they can win. The players believe in the staff. I think the staff, everybody that I've spoken to speaks very highly about everybody in the staff. Kyle is obviously innovative offensively and had a ton of respect for the way he calls the game for a long time. You know, we've played him since, I want to say my rookie year, actually, when he was with Washington. And he always gives us issues, you know, with plays that we've never seen, routes that we've never seen, concepts, and then the rest of the league piggybacks on what he has, and they're like, oh my God, look at these great offensive coordinators. It's like literally they're just copying what this guy did against us for the past 5 games. So, congratulations, you can copycat. But I really appreciate his offensive approach, and defensively with Robert Saleh, you know, it's familiarity there. You know, I've done well in this scheme. I've played well in this scheme. I know it like the back of my hand, the front of my hand. In terms of the distance from my family, you know, I'm a West Coast guy. I'm a Bay Area guy. Well, I'm an LA guy, but, you know, spent 5 years in the Bay Area going to Stanford. So, you know, I've won a lot of games wearing red.
Richard, for years and years, we tried to get you on a conference call before Niner games, and we were unsuccessful.
You guys got me on a ton of them before, like, the NFC Championship. You guys stopped asking. And then I did a press conference every Wednesday.
Well, okay, now let me finish. So we were largely unsuccessful getting you on a conference call. Dan, we just had you on a conference call, and you're back to talk to us again. Do you regret not talking to us?
Were you part of that conference call? Did you see how it went? No, that's what was frightening me. That wasn't my dog. The radio station put us on hold. They wouldn't mute us. You know, maybe there's something to that. You know, you guys are great though. You know, I enjoy talking to you, but you know, I don't enjoy hearing the radio station's ad over and over and over again.
Sure. Your health and your projection, your timetable on getting back on the field. What do you foresee?
Oh yeah, I'll be back on the field May, June. You know, I was back on the treadmill before I had to get the little scope, and I look forward to renewing that timeline in the next couple of weeks. You know, obviously I got a wedding to go to and some things to do. It's going to be quite the march for me. You know, 30th birthday, wedding, new team, new environment. You know, we'll write that down in the record books later about how this day went, or this month went. But I'm excited about it. So that timeline will be fine. I think, you know, people like to, you know, with the Achilles or any injury, people like to compare other people This guy came back like this guy coming back like that. There are some people that are cut from a different cloth and built from different things, and I think I'm one of those people, and I look forward to showing people that you can come back better from things. I know AP did it, but that was a knee, and but I look forward to coming back better than ever, and got a lot of things to show a few people.
On that conference call, we couldn't hear a word you said, but I think you said something about the bone spurs. Can you explain that a little further?
Yeah. On my left heel, it was a bone spur that I had been dealing with for about 3 years, and I've just been postponing it, getting it done every year. 1 year was my son being born. We had lost the Super Bowl. My son was being born, so I didn't want to get it done then. Then we went on vacation, and they're like, you're going to be out for a month and a half, 2 months. So I'm like, when do you really want to be walking around on crutches on vacation? The next year, same deal. You push it back. And this year we had booked it before the season even started because my trainers were like, oh, you pushed it back far enough. And so we had booked it in July. And, after the Achilles ruptured, I just had to wait a couple more weeks and get it done then when my Achilles got strong enough.
So that's on pace for how long is the recovery for that as opposed?
Oh, it's 4 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks. It's just bone edema and, getting the swelling out and just getting back to it. It's nothing structurally with my Achilles or anything.
Richard, what was important for you to negotiate your own contract, and how did that experience go?
It was really important to me. I think that a lot of times in our league there are players that have the ability to do that and have the ability to structure their own deals and really take advantage of just being in control of their own destiny. Sometimes these agents, there are great agents in our game that take care of their players, make sure that our players are ready for life after football, their finances, whatever the case may be. And then there are some agents who negotiate a deal in 2006 and don't talk to their client again until 2010, or whatever the case may be. And that's the things that we're trying to avoid, and I'm trying to avoid. I didn't feel like I needed an agent. I felt like I knew contracts well enough, and I felt like, coming off the Achilles, there's going to be negotiation points. There's going to be give and takes on both sides, and I felt comfortable with that.
Bashed in some circles for the contract you signed. What ticks you off the most, or what do you think is the biggest misconception from what you've heard?
Well, the biggest misconception is that it's a bad deal. I think, if you're comparing it to my last deal in Seattle, I had no money guaranteed. So if I'm basing it off just going off my last year in Seattle and you compared it, I got no money guaranteed. I'm going into Seattle. I'm coming off a ruptured Achilles. What do I have? What security do I have there? With this deal, I get $5 million guaranteed, which is half of my other contract. I get the ability to make more than I could have done whether I played at an all-pro level or not in Seattle. And that's really all that I wanted. And I play at the level that I'm capable of. I feel security in the upcoming years, and I feel comfortable with that. And I'm great with that. I think the thing I'm most frustrated about is that, all the people that were like so high on bashing this deal refuse to bash the agents that do awful deals every year. I mean, there are agents out there that are doing, $3 million fully guaranteed deals that look like $50 million deals. When the guy gets cut after 2 weeks or after a year, and the guy only makes $5 million of a $50 million contract, and nobody sits there and bashes the agent. You don't hear any Florio writing any articles about it. I mean, the kid from Philly, I think Brenham or something, it's a 1-year, $6 million deal, but to everybody else, it's a $40 million deal. There's nobody to bash it because nobody's even paying attention to most of these agents and their deals. And so I think that this was just one of those things where the agents feel uncomfortable with the player taking the initiative to do his own deal. It obviously puts a fire under them. It makes them more accountable for their actions because more players will do this. So I feel comfortable with it.
Have you heard from players around the league? Do you think it's going to become a trend?
I do. I've heard from a lot of players, and a lot of players were already, on board with doing this and thinking of doing this. And I just gave them the confidence to move forward with them. Obviously, I'm coming off an injury, so the logistics of things changed slightly. But I think a lot more players feel educated enough to go forward and negotiate their own deals. I think these agents sometimes benefit from relationships. Oh, I know this GM. Oh, we've had dealings with for years, and they really don't have to do a ton of work. Hey, I called this guy. How much you willing to give him? Oh, $5 million. Okay, I'll convince him that that's good enough. Instead of guys being able to control their own destiny, being in control of their own finances. And I think it goes back to just educating our players in general on their own finances and being in control of your own life. And I think more of our players are.
You served as the Seahawks player representative, right?
Thank you.
Is that something that you'd want to do here? And is that, Eric Reed was it the last few years with the 49ers. Are you concerned at all what his status is in the league right now?
We are concerned because he played at a high level for just about every year that he's played in this league. He's made enough plays to be signed with the league. Signed with the team and to make his money. He deserves his money. If safeties make a certain amount, I would think he's top 5, top 10 safeties in this league. So he deserves to be paid accordingly. So there is concern there because you would think a player of his caliber and his quality would be picked up by now. But I think they're great teams are still looking and people are still looking for players. And I'm praying that he gets picked up. But if he doesn't, then I think there will be a conversation with the league office and the union on potential legal action.
And you'd want to pursue being the Players Association rep here?
Yeah. I'm on the executive committee for the Players Union already, but I'd love to continue to be a rep. I think it's an honor to serve your men and to help the next generation of players in any way I can.
Richard, on a related note, when you were considering your options in your short time as a free agent, how important was it to come to a team like the 49ers that have been at the forefront of player activism?
I think, honestly, that didn't really come into play as much. Obviously, I feel free to speak as I want, obviously, in terms of how I feel on different social issues, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously, the 49ers have been open to allowing their players the freedom to express themselves on this platform. So that is something that is great about this organization. But the biggest thing was Kyle and John reaching out initially. They reached out within 5-10 minutes of the news hitting the wire. And just having that kind of respect from a team means a lot to me. There were other teams that reached out consequently after. But I think that meant a lot to me, just a want of a team, a team showing you that they want you, that they value you. Obviously, Seattle showed that they didn't value me as much, letting me go see the market. So I think there's something to be said for both.
Given your
about getting rid of
I got you next.
the catch rule, getting rid of the going to the ground part of that, in terms of communicating possession to the ground. What are your perspective on that?
I'm in favor of it because it gives the refs more clarity, and I think anytime you give the referees more of a straight line edge to call plays, I think it's better for the game. I think, obviously, there's been a lot of scrutiny on the catch rule, and last year my team was at the wrong end of it. A guy caught the ball, ran 3-4 steps, put his hand on the ground, fell, fumbled the ball, and nobody touched him, and they said it was an incomplete pass, and it was the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen. And I think that they need to do more rules like that. They need to take the gray area out of a lot more rules because the rule book is getting too crazy. It's getting too extensive. Every game, the refs are getting scrutinized left and right when it's like it's a bang-bang play. This game is happening a million miles an hour, and there's really nothing you can do about it. The rule book is so complex, so how many times can you think of 1,500 rules in a second of a play and see which ones apply to that particular play? So I think anytime they can simplify the rule book and simplify the refs' understanding and the public's understanding, it's better for the game.
Given the nature of the rivalry between the Seahawks and the 49ers and all that happened with you at the center of it, was it a little surreal to put on the suit today and see yourself in that?
I'm a pro's pro. Like I said, at the end of the day, the team that wanted me is the team whose logo I'm wearing today, and it's a business. The Seahawks went and made their business decision and made the decision that they needed to make, and the San Francisco 49ers made the decision that they needed to make, and I look forward to helping them win ball games. At the end of the day, the rivalry is what it is. It'll be renewed, I'm sure, and I'll be at the center of it again, I guess. But at the end of the day, I'm just coming here to help this team win ball games. I like what they stand for. I like the direction the team's headed, and I look forward to making new memories.
Negotiations with Brad lasted 5.5 hours. Can you talk a little bit about that whole process?
Don't take John out of this. Don't take John out of this. John was in there too. Yeah, it was a long negotiation, and I think it was probably I would think one of the more respectful negotiations that anybody. It's just pure business. I think people were like, is he going to get emotional? He's an emotional player. What is he going to do? And there's so much speculation. It was ridiculous. At the end of the day, you got to separate you as a football player from you as a businessman. I don't sit in business meetings and just go crazy. Oh my God, what kind of deal is that? Nobody does that. So at the end of the day, I gave them the pros and the cons I thought of me as a player. They gave me the pros and the cons. They offered me a deal. We manipulated some of the numbers on that deal over 5 hours. I think I got to a place where I felt comfortable with the numbers and the security with me playing at the level that I'm accustomed to, and I think they felt comfortable with their security of, if I never get back to playing and I never get to step back a foot on the field, that, they need the ability to be able to cut ties and not put themselves at a disadvantage financially. And I understand that, because I understand how this game goes, and I look forward to showing them who I've been.
You're going to be
Two
joining
more, please.
You're going to be joining a very young secondary, especially at cornerback. Do you enjoy that aspect of the game, sort of imparting your knowledge to younger guys? And second question, do you know Akella Witherspoon at all? Are you familiar with his game?
I'm familiar with his game more than I am with him as a person personally. And I look forward to the challenge. I've always been a guy to take young guys under my wing and give them any advice that they wanted, or they were seeking. Whether it's staying after practice and spending countless hours of just technique, or up in the film room when nobody's watching, just, this is what I see, this is how I see it, this is situational football. These are fundamental things for me that I look for in a formation, in a game, in a player, in a split. And I look forward to helping this group grow. I think that one of my best attributes is leadership and helping guys get the best out of themselves. And I think that at the end of the day, that's all I want to do. I want to help them become better men and better players, whatever that may be. If that means on the field, just communicating better. If that's off the field, just, getting your affairs in order in a better way that is more conducive of success. I think that's my job, and I take that responsibility seriously.
You mentioned being an emotional player, Kyle.
I think it's both. I think it's kind of much ado about nothing in terms of the organization and how we communicated internally. On the outside, there was definitely a way for me to handle it better. There were a lot of conversations that went on before that all culminated. But there's definitely, some growing in that moment, some learning, and I can appreciate that. I think Cal and I spoke about that the first time we sat down and had dinner. And we had the same conversation, and we came to the same conclusion. But I think at the end of the day, that's part of growing up as a player and a person.